Welcome to Every Fact Ever. Like and subscribe for more amazing facts. This is 50 facts about the Titanic. Fact number 1. At the time of its maiden voyage, the Titanic was the largest passenger ship in the world. It had a length of 269 meters. It was also the largest man-made moving object in the world. Fact number 2. If it was still running today, the Titanic would be an environmental disaster, as its primary power source was coal. It burned around 600 tons of coal per day and also emitted 100 tons worth of ash into the ocean. Fact number 3. The interior was very luxurious as it was modelled on the Ritz London Hotel. Fact number 4. Alcoholic drinks were not a problem on the Titanic as it had over 2,000 bottles of beer on board. It also had an additional 1,500 bottles of wine and 8,000 cigars on board, but these were only available to the first class passengers. Fact number 5. In theory, even if there'd been enough time to get away before the ship sunk, there weren't enough lifeboats for all the passengers to get in. The Titanic only carried 16 wooden lifeboats and another 4 collapsible lifeboats, but this could only carry a maximum of a third of the total passengers. Surprisingly, it was actually more than the law stipulated. Fact number 6. During the ship's construction, 2 people died. These people died because the work was very demanding and difficult, and construction accidents were frequent. So frequent, there was more than 250 injuries recorded on site. Fact number 7. First class passengers had access to live music services. Each first class passenger was given a list of songs that they could request. This list was made up for more than 350 songs, and the musicians on board were required to know each one in case somebody asked them to play. Fact number 8. The richest person on board had a total net worth of approximately $2 billion in today's money. He was known as John Jacob Astor, a known socialite in New York. Fact number 9. When the ship began to sink, victims would often act out in different ways. One victim decided to change into his best evening attire to go down with the ship. Fact number 10. Only 2 out of the 9 dogs on board were rescued. Fact number 11. Among the guests that were lucky enough to have tickets, there were a few that decided not to travel. One of these guests was Milton Hershey, which you might recognise as the founder of the Hershey chocolate business. Fact number 12. There were only 29 female crew members out of the 885 crew members on board. Fact number 13. The classic scene from the James Cameron's Titanic, where the musicians continued to play while the boat sank, actually happened. The musicians played for around 2 hours while the boat was slowly sinking and other passengers were being evacuated. Since priority was given to female passengers and children, they knew they wouldn't be able to get off anyway. Fact number 14. The last surviving passenger died in 2009. She was only 2 months old when the accident occurred. Fact number 15. There was less than a minute between the moment they saw the iceberg and the collision. Fact number 16. The iceberg was only seen by lookout Frederick Fleet, who immediately alerted the officers on deck. Fleet survived the disaster and was also a lookout on another big passenger ship. Fact number 17. Drinking whiskey on the night of the accident saved the boat's chief baker. Fact number 18. There was another boat who received the distress call but chose to ignore it. The SS California was criticised heavily for not responding to the distress call of the Titanic. Fact number 19. The ship broke into 2 halves at around 2 in the morning, sending the remaining passengers deep into the ocean. The temperature was around -2 degrees Celsius that morning. The chances of surviving were very slim. 20% of those who fell into the waters would have died within the first 2 minutes. Very few would have lasted more than 15. Fact number 20. The ship's captain, Captain Edward Smith, also died in the tragedy. Fact number 21. The wreck of the Titanic was found more than 7 decades after it sunk. It was discovered 12,500 feet underwater. Fact number 22. There was a controversial documentary about the Titanic. Released in 1943, it was used as propaganda in World War II. Fact number 23. James Cameron's Titanic was one of the most successful attempts at recreating this tragedy. It was also the highest grossing film of all time, until it was dethroned by Cameron's own Avatar. Fact number 24. The ship's launch attracted more than 100,000 people to watch. It took 20 horses to carry its anchor due to its sheer size. Fact number 25. The iceberg was 100 feet tall from the surface and came from a glacier in Greenland. The Titanic received 6 warnings regarding icebergs in the area. Fact number 26. Of the thousands that died, only 306 bodies were recovered. There is a maritime museum dedicated to preserving the recovered items from the wreckage. Items include clothes, shoes, and bags. Fact number 27. There was a book written 14 years before the Titanic sank. The book told the story of an unsinkable ship named Titan that hit an iceberg in the North Atlantic Ocean. This was written by Morgan Robertson. It was later believed to be a premonition of the accident. The ship Titan also didn't have enough lifeboats for its thousands of passengers, just like the Titanic. Fact number 28. The beautiful and luxurious Turkish baths on board were only to be used by the first-class passengers. However, for the third-class passengers, 700 of them had to share 2 bathtubs. Fact number 29. All of the engineers who were on the ship perished with the Titanic. They all stayed behind to run the power, giving the others time to escape. Fact number 30. After hitting the iceberg, it took more than 2 hours for the ship to sink completely. It was more than enough time to evacuate everybody from the ship, but they just didn't have enough lifeboats. The first lifeboat was released an hour after they hit the iceberg. Fact number 31. It was really women and children only when it came to the lifeboats. The survival rate of a woman was 74% and the child's rate was 52%, compared to the men's survival rate of only 20%. Fact number 32. After the accident, the first report claimed that no one had died. The Evening Sun was the first newspaper to report the accident, but only had unverified reports to work with. The news was only corrected 2 days after the original release, when the actual reports were released. Fact number 33. There was a scheduled lifeboat drill on the day of the accident, but it didn't happen as Captain Edward John Smith ordered them to cancel it. Up until now, the reason why it was cancelled has never been discovered. Fact number 34. There was a love story on the Titanic that would also break your heart like Jack and Rose's story. Isidor Strauss was refused a seat next to his wife on one of the last remaining lifeboats because of the policy women and children first, but his wife also refused to leave without him. Eyewitnesses said they saw the couple walking towards the opposite end of the boat, hand in hand, waiting for their demise. Fact number 35. You could fit 2 football fields inside the Titanic. Based on the official records, it was 882 feet and 9 inches long, and it would take 7 minutes to walk around the whole ship. Fact number 36. In 20 years, the remains of the Titanic will be gone forever. Scientists discovered that there are new rust-eating bacteria that are slowly eating their way through the remains of the Titanic. Fact number 37. Robert Bollards discovered the remains of the Titanic. He wasn't hired to look for the Titanic. He was there on a top secret mission. He was hired by the US government to use an underwater robot to look for nuclear submarines that had sunk in the 1960s. Fact number 38. People didn't believe that the ship split into two halves due to Ballard's discovery of the wreckage. Witnesses' accounts were proven to be true. Fact number 39. There were several minor young boys who served as crew members aboard the Titanic. Some of these boys were as young as 14 years old when the accident happened. Unfortunately, none of these boys survived the sinking of the ship. Fact number 40. There was only one Japanese passenger on board that survived the accident. However, after the accident, he was pressed by the media and the government for being a coward and not staying on the ship. Fact number 41. There was a film about the Titanic released 29 days after the accident. The main actress, Dorothy Gibson, was an actual survivor of the sinking ship. To give this authenticity, she wore the same clothes that she was wearing when the Titanic was sinking. It was reported that she suffered a mental breakdown while filming. Fact number 42. Only 3 of the 4 smokestacks on the Titanic were functional. The 3 working stacks were connected to the furnace under the ship where the smoke was produced. The 4th one wasn't actually connected to anything, it was only added to balance the ship. Fact number 43. You can visit the actual wreckage of the Titanic today. You can book a tour with a London-based travel company called Blue Marble Private, who organise a 10-day mission for you to explore the wreckage. If you're adventurous enough, prepare your wallet, as it doesn't come cheap. As of today, it costs more than $100,000 to go down and see the sights. Fact number 44. Someone actually heard the Titanic distress call from 3,000 miles away. Artie Moore, a radio operator, heard the distress call using his homemade radio equipment. Fact number 45. 14,000 gallons of drinking water were consumed daily on the Titanic. Just to give you an idea, a gallon of water is the equivalent of 16 cups of water. Therefore, in 24 hours, the passengers of the ship would consume 224,000 cups of water. Fact number 46. There were 2 toddler brothers who survived the accident without a parent or a guardian, nicknamed the Titanic Orphans. Fact number 47. The official name of the Titanic was the Royal Mail Steamer Titanic. In other words, the RMS Titanic. The RMS Titanic was the second liner in the Olympic class liner series. Fact number 48. The reason why the lookers didn't see the iceberg, even though it was 100 feet tall, was because it was believed to be an optical illusion. According to a historian, Tim Matlin, the atmospheric conditions on the night when it happened caused a super refraction, camouflaging the huge iceberg. Fact number 49. Some of the lifeboats weren't even filled to capacity. For instance, the first lifeboat only carried 28 people when it could have carried 65. It was estimated that more than half the passengers could have survived if the lifeboats were filled to their maximum capacity. Fact number 50. The revenue from Cameron's Titanic could build you around 11 Titanic ships today. Using today's money, it is believed that it would cost $200 million to construct the Titanic.